This video is about a Gate 1 trip to Mongolia in June 2024. Mongolia is a landlocked country in East Asia, known for its vast steppes, rugged mountains and the Gobi Desert. Its history is deeply rooted in the nomadic traditions of the Mongol people. The most significant historical figure is Genghis Khan, who united the Mongol tribes in the early 13th century and founded the Mongol Empire, the largest contiguous empire in history, stretching from Europe to Asia. After the empire's fragmentation, Mongolia fell under Chinese rule during the Qing dynasty. Following the Qing's collapse, Mongolia declared independence in 1911, but it became a satellite state of the Soviet Union in the 20th century, adopting a socialist regime. In 1990, Mongolia transitioned to democracy, establishing a multi-party system and a market economy. Ulaanbaatar is the capital and largest city of Mongolia, situated in the north-central part of the country. It's the cultural, economic and political center of Mongolia. It was founded as a nomadic Buddhist monastic center in 1639. It's got a population of over 1.5 million people, making it a significant portion of the country's total population. The city experiences harsh continental climate, characterized by long, extremely cold winters and short, warm summers. The city's architecture is a mix of Soviet-era buildings and modern developments, reflecting its historical influence. Ulaanbaatar faces challenges such as air pollution. The traffic is a nightmare. Our first stop today was to the Gandan Monastery, and after we negotiated through the traffic, we finally got there. We saw the monks praying, and it's a very active place. We wandered through and spun the prayer wheels, and then we went into the monastery and saw some of the statues and the other Buddhist materials. The Genghis Khan equestrian statue, often referred to as the Genghis Khan Statue Complex, is an iconic stainless steel monument located near Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. It stands as a powerful symbol of Mongolia's national pride, honoring the legendary founder of the Mongol Empire, Genghis Khan, known locally as Genghis Khan. The statue is colossal, standing at 130 feet tall, making it the largest equestrian statue in the world. It depicts Genghis Khan mounted on horseback, gazing eastward towards his birthplace. Made of stainless steel, the gleaming statue reflects the light and stands out dramatically against the surrounding landscape. One of the highlights is an elevator inside the statue that takes visitors up to the horse's head. Historians estimate that the Mongol conquests may have caused the deaths of 40 to 60 million people over the course of the 13th and 14th centuries. This would make the Mongol campaigns among the deadliest in human history. To put this in perspective, some estimates suggest that the Mongol invasions reduced the global population by about 11% during the peak of the empire's expansion. The Mongol Khans transformed the Eurasian world, creating an empire that fostered cross-cultural exchanges, introduced innovations in governance and military tactics, and promoted trade and commerce. Their legacy can be seen in the spread of technologies, ideas, and religious tolerance across the continents, and in the profound impact they had on shaping the modern world. Even after the empire's decline, Mongolian culture and history remained to influence the region. The Mongolian Empire is remembered as one of the most remarkable in history for its ability to contact vast and diverse lands under a relatively peaceful and prosperous rule. On day 4, we got up early and got on the aircraft and flew to Kozgel, a very modern airport. Well, let's face it, there are no modern airports there. It was a bit of a laugh. Anyway, we drove to Lake Kozgel, where we were going to spend our first night in Gur. Anyway, on the way there, we saw our first yaks, and there was this cute young girl that was riding her yak, pulling this old cart, and she was shy, and we stopped, and everyone was taking photos, and then somebody gave her some candy, and she was so happy. It was just so wonderful to meet people that seemed so basic, simple, and happy. Happy's the word. Anyway, we went further down the road, and we arrived at the lake and got these beautiful accommodation in these circular, they weren't gurs, circular houses, and I found me a great hat, by the way, my first of my hats that I was buying. We also saw this is a Soviet landmine, I'm sure it is, or is it a yak poop? Not sure. Anyway, the lake was beautiful. It really was, and we all had a great time there. There were some beautiful wildflowers. We went to a museum, a little local museum there, a very rugged sort of museum, but there were exhibits there about the reindeer people, one of their typical tents. There was a horse head mandolin, and there was all sorts of things. Interesting there was some clothing. Apparently, the rumor has it that many, many years ago, some young lady got into the wrestling business or one of the men's sports and did rather well. So the men after that would wear a special clothing that showed their chests bare so that they would protect any women from accidentally competing against them and making them look bad. Clever boys. Next morning, we headed out to visit a yak herding family. We began by all attempting to milk a yak. Now, I'm an old country boy who can milk a cow, even a goat. But the yak has a teat about 2 inches long, so no normal pinch and squeeze technique don't quite work. I had a drink of yak milk. It tasted just like regular milk to me. They live a very simple life, but I did spot the solar panels near the yurt and the battery. We gathered inside and sat around the sides while we talked to the family and asked questions about life as a nomadic yak herder. All the while, the woman pasteurized the milk. Then we tried some dried curds, not my favorite. The whole family lived in the yurt, and the old 90-year-old grandmother was fascinated by the tourists. Shamans in northern Mongolia are regarded as spiritual intermediaries who communicate with spirits, deities, ancestors, and other supernatural entities. The role of the shaman is to mediate between the human world and the spirit world, ensuring harmony between the two. This is crucial for maintaining healthy fertility, success in hunting, protection from misfortune, and overall well-being of the community. We were fortunate enough to spend an hour or two with a shaman, a real shaman.
So not the spirits, some other shamans, they need to wear the different clothing, and they would need to bring the more the instruments to call the spirits. But for those, they can do the short rituals, which means they only can use this kind of the mouth harp. This is how they call spirits.
The Sartan reindeer people are a small indigenous group of reindeer herders living in northern Mongolia, primarily in the Kozgul province. They're one of the last remaining nomadic societies that rely heavily on reindeer for their livelihood, culture, and identity. The Sartan people traditionally live a semi-nomadic lifestyle, moving their camps with the seasonal migration of their reindeer. They primarily inhabit the taiga region near the Sayan Mountains and the Kozgul Lake area. They rely on reindeer for various aspects of their daily lives, including transportation, food, clothing, and shelter. They use reindeer milk for dairy products, meat for food, and skins for clothing and shelter. They live in portable tent-like structures called gurs or yurts, which can be easily dismantled and moved. The Sartan society is generally organized into small family groups, each headed by a patriarch. Decisions are made communally, and social ties are strong among families and clans. Climate change has impacted the traditional migration patterns of reindeer and the availability of grazing land. Warmer temperatures, reduced snowfall, and changing weather patterns pose challenges for reindeer herding. The encroachment of modern society has led to the loss of traditional lands and the introduction of new economic pressures. Many younger Sartan people move to urban areas for education and employment. Despite these challenges, the Sartan people continue to maintain their unique cultural and traditions. At the end of our stay at Kozgul Lake, we had a bonfire and a sing-along. I did my best, but only succeeded in burning holes in my hoodie from all the embers being produced by the fire. You'll come a waltzing Matilda with me in the chorus. Waltzing Matilda, you'll come a waltzing Matilda with me. And he sang as he stuck that jumbuck in his tuck. That was from me. One of the most enjoyable aspects of the trip was to spend time with the native people. They were happy, but they had managed to make a lifestyle out of this that was very, very attractive and enhancing. Here we see a family that we spent some time with, and there's the grandmother living with the whole family. It's very much a nuclear family. They're all together, an extended family rather, and it was great. The Erdene Zoo Monastery, established in 1585 near the ruins of Karakoram, is Mongolia's oldest surviving Buddhist monastery. It was constructed with stones from the nearby ruins of Karakoram, blending Tibetan, Mongolian, and Chinese architectural styles. At its height, Erdene Zoo housed over 60 temples and thousands of monks. The Mongolian Communist Party, following Stalinist policy, saw the religious establishment as a threat to the regime's goals. The government targeted the Buddhist clergy, or lamas. Out of the 800 to 1,000 monasteries that existed in Mongolia at the time, most were demolished. It's estimated that between 17,000 to 30,000 lamas were executed during this period. By the late 1930s, Mongolia was a fully atheistic state. Religious institutions only began to slowly recover after the fall of communism in the 1990s. The Valley of the Eagles is a stunningly beautiful gorge located in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia. It's situated within the Gobi Gurva-Sankhan National Park, which is known for its diverse landscapes ranging from desert dunes to rugged mountains. The valley's famous for its deep and narrow canyons, carved by a river that sometimes forms ice during the colder months. In fact, remnants of ice can linger even during the summer months, a rare phenomenon in the Gobi Desert. Valley of the Eagles is home to various species of wildlife, including ibex, argali sheep, and birds of prey such as vultures and eagles. It's a haven for bird watchers and nature enthusiasts. The gorge is surrounded by towering cliffs and dramatic landscapes, offering an incredible setting for photography and exploration. The Gobi Desert is one of the largest deserts in the world, spans across southern Mongolia and northern China. Despite being a desert, it's a landscape of striking diversity with rocky terrain, sand dunes, and unique ecosystems. The Gobi Desert covers around 1.3 million square kilometers, making it the fifth largest desert in the world and the largest in Asia. It's a cold desert with extreme temperature variations. Winters can bring sub-zero temperatures and snow, while summers are hot and arid. The Gobi is more than just sand. It features rocky plains, mountain ranges, valleys, and steppes. Famous landmarks include the Kongaran Els sand dunes, the Flaming Cliffs, and the Yolan Am Valley. Wildlife. The Gobi supports a surprising array of life, including Bactrian camels, snow leopards, Gobi bears that are rare, and various reptiles and birds. Historically, the Gobi was part of the Silk Road, making it a hub for trade and cultural exchange. Many dinosaur fossils, including the first discovered dinosaur eggs, were found here, particularly in the Flaming Cliffs area. The region is sparsely populated, with nomadic herders living off the land, raising camels, goats, and sheep. It holds cultural and spiritual importance for the Mongolian nomads. The Gobi Desert is a testament to the beauty and resilience of life in harsh conditions, blending ecological diversity, rich history, and stunning natural beauty. The Kongaran Els sand dunes, often called the Singing Dunes, are one of the most famous and spectacular natural attractions of the Gobi Desert of Mongolia. The dunes are among the largest in Mongolia, extending about 62 miles in length and ranging from 6 to 12 kilometers. The Singing Dunes name comes from the sound made when the wind moves across the sand, creating a humming or roaring noise. This phenomenon is caused by the vibration of the sand particles under specific conditions. We all took our camels and headed for the sand dunes, with nobody succeeding in making it to the top, most of us nursing sore bums from the camel ride. Then we spent time with a camel herder in his ger. He told us all about his past as a wrestler. Wrestling's a big sport in Mongolia, and he had achieved high status and proudly showed us his hat, which he was awarded. We had been advised that it was normal for visitors to the family to offer gifts, so I'd bought some caps with horses on them, and he happily accepted it. The Bayan Zag Flaming Cliffs in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia are a site of great archaeological and paleontological significance. Also known as the Flaming Cliffs due to their red-orange color, they have become famous for being one of the world's most important locations for dinosaur fossil discoveries. In the 1920s, Roy Chapman Andrews, an American paleontologist and explorer, led expeditions to the Bayan Zag region. His team made groundbreaking discoveries. One of the most significant finds at the Flaming Cliffs was the first ever discovery of fossilized dinosaur eggs in 1923. This discovery provided crucial evidence that dinosaurs laid eggs, something that had not been conclusively proven until then. We had a cooking class to make the pastry turnovers full of seasoned meat. I decided that a small animal shape would be more appropriate, so I fried this small yak. After that, we visited a very modern museum, financed by the mining industry, focusing on the history of Mongolia, but mainly on the discovery of the dinosaur fossils, particularly the discovery of the dinosaur eggs. There were many dioramas depicting the early life in Mongolia. We then had a farewell dinner in a large yurt which had a stage and a microphone. The mic didn't work, but that didn't stop me, thanks to some red wine, from delivering I Still Call Australia Home.
I've been to cities that never closed down, from New York to Rio and old London town. But no matter how far or how wide I've roamed, I still call Australia home.
After that, we went to the airport and waited, and waited, and waited. We were supposed to return to Ulaanbaatar and spend the night at the hotel before leaving home early in the morning. Well, the flight was delayed. I think they had to get another plane. Anyway, it was well after midnight before we took off. By the time we headed to the bus to the hotel, it was about 3 a.m. Then the bus stopped. What's going on? Well, the bus couldn't fit under a new road bridge. It tried but risked being stuck. I was about to suggest letting the air out of the tires, but that was a bit radical. Anyway, after discussing whether it made sense to ferry everyone to the hotel, about a mile or two up the road, we voted to simply go back to the airport, and they allowed us to use the first-class lounge with couches, etc., where we tried to get some shut-eye before our flight early next morning. A great adventure in a fascinating country full of people living simply but wholesomely, enjoying their life while gradually moving into the 21st century. I thank our guide who did an incredible job adjusting, planning and herding us through this adventure.